I'm glad that you appreciated my really long vlog yesterday about Captain America, because immediately after I posted it, I was about to take it down. Like, I looked at my phone and I saw that it was at like 90%, and I set it back down. And then I started to regret the entire thing because I felt like I just rambled for a really long time. And I was like, I have coherent thoughts in there about what the movie was and what it meant to me. Did I actually say any of them? And I picked up my phone and I saw that it had already finished uploading, and I was like, well, that's okay if no one's seen it yet. And Carter was like already, I guess, most of the way through it because he sent me a message about it. And I was like, fuck. Oh, I know what it was. He had commented something about, like, have I ever gotten cookie before? And then I was like, shit, he got a cookie. Now I feel bad if I take it down. And then immediately after that, someone else commented, and immediately after that, someone else commented about how much they liked how I rambled about the movie. And I was like, okay, well, I guess then that's what we're doing. We're rambling about movies. So I'm glad you appreciated it. I like freaked out when I saw that I was like 8 minutes into the video, and I was like, have I said anything that I wanted to say yet? I guess I did. I guess I made some points. I'm done with that. So Game of Thrones was on, and I've exposed Quinn to a lot of TV shows that she hasn't seen before in the time that we've been together. And many of them, because I'm trying to pick quality over quantity, have been premium channel related shows. And it comes with the territory. A lot of those shows feature nudity, and often gratuitous nudity. And I guess this was something that I didn't even really think about. It's not something I consider when I think about shows. I've been seeing movies and TV with nudity in them for a very long time. Quinn didn't watch that many TV shows before her and I got together. It was just a medium that she didn't really involve herself in. And since most of the shows that I've chosen are from like HBO and Showtime, there's just a lot of boobs and butts, and Game of Thrones shows a lot of kind of everything. And at first it made her uncomfortable, and then she kind of got okay with it, and now it's making her uncomfortable again. And she tweeted out an article that I will link in the... I haven't thought of a word for it today. And I kind of see the point, but at the same time I don't. I don't even think about it anymore. Maybe when I was 15 years old, like, if there was suddenly a naked girl... I remember... Okay, here's a good example. I remember I apologize for the backlighting. I now see that I'm a little... Is that better? My father decided to show me Total Recall, the original version. And as many of you know, I'm sure, there's a 3-boobied Mars woman in that movie. And first of all, the boobs aren't... It's not even real. Second, it's so camp and so cheesy. It's not like... It's not even really in a sexual context. I think she's like supposed to be a prostitute or something. She's like, you like what you see, honey? Like, look at my 3 boobies. And the moment that scene came on, my dad and I are watching the movie in our living room, and I think my mom was like nearby. And my mom may have made this like, like, why? And my dad, who has kind of a bad memory for these kinds of things, couldn't remember if there was any more, like, anything like that through the rest of the movie. And he was like, I don't know if we should watch the rest of this. So I actually I don't know if I've ever seen the rest of Total Recall. The original, and I definitely haven't seen the remake. So at that point in my life, it was definitely something I thought about. But as I got older and I saw more movies that had nudity and sexual content, and then as I really got into TV and I saw a lot of, especially premium channel shows that just, I don't want to say feature nudity, but contain nudity, it just stopped meaning anything to me. And because I feel like it's because Quinn is still kind of new to it, it really affects her. But maybe I'm wrong, and she is totally in line with what this article says, which is basically that the guy who wrote it feels like a prude. And for that reason, it really bothers him. I'm thinking of like even shows like Penn and Teller's Bullshit feature full frontal nudity, and on their show it's for absolutely no reason. And I feel like when you take all of the associations away from nudity, especially sex, it begins to mean nothing. And that's why I don't really think about it as much. Of course, on Game of Thrones, it's explicitly for a sexual reason that they're showing nudity. But on another show, like HBO's Girls, there's a lot of times that the character's just naked because she's in the bathtub. And why would you not be naked in the bathtub? And actually, Game of Thrones has even had a couple times that like a character's just in the bathtub. Weeds had scenes where Mary Louise Parker was in the bathtub. And yes, you don't have to place a scene in the bathtub. They chose to do it because it was the natural fit. And that's what I feel like Girls has done. The specific point that is brought up in the article about the nudity in Game of Thrones is there's a writer or producer on the show who has said in an interview that HBO pressured him. And they were like, you need more sex and you need more boobies. And he was like, oh, I didn't realize that was part of my contract. So I'm becoming more sensitive to it because of Quinn and because of, future daughter happening. But I still feel like it's an American thing. The whole puritanical whatever, that it's really much more of a big deal than it should be. But I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a first world cultural thing. Maybe it's something entirely different. I actually didn't start this to talk about nudity, and here we are. I wanted to talk about Game of Thrones, but I've been talking for a really long time now. Maybe I'll talk about Game of Thrones later. The point I want to make about Game of Thrones is after suffering through this last season of Walking Dead, where nothing has happened, and I know stuff has happened, but in the broad spectrum of things, nothing has happened. Game of Thrones, in one episode, coming back from the break, this new season, did so much with so many characters in less than an hour that Walking Dead struggles to do over the course of 8 episodes. It drives me crazy. There's this one writer, I'm going to EW again, there's a writer for EW, I forget his name, James something, who does the recaps for Game of Thrones. His Game of Thrones recap is 7 pages on mobile, and I realize that they're breaking it up for advertising purposes, but it's a long recap, and it's all worthwhile information, and yes, he's sprinkling in jokes and stuff, but there's a lot of information because there's a lot of stuff that happened. There's a lot of stuff that happened, and that's awesome. That's the kind of show that I want to watch. Walking Dead is just every week I'm like, I really hope that this is the week where something happens. No, doesn't happen. My parents don't understand. Because parents just don't understand. Why did I